For decades, the world has watched as one nation shaped the global order. But today, a seismic shift is underway, one that could redefine power as we know it. Is the US losing its grip? Or is China's rise unstoppable? In 2001, the world watched as China took a bold step onto the global economic stage by joining the World Trade Organization, WTO. At the time, the US economy was unrivaled, with a GDP exceeding $10 trillion, while China's was just a fraction of that, standing at $1.3 trillion. Fast forward to today, and the landscape looks drastically different. China's GDP has surged past $17 trillion, making it the second largest economy in the world, closing in on the $26 trillion US economy. Beyond economics, China has been expanding its global influence at an unprecedented pace. It now dominates global manufacturing, produces more electric vehicles than any other country, and files more AI patents annually than the United States. Its Belt and Road Initiative, a $1 trillion infrastructure strategy, has secured economic ties with over 140 countries, shifting global alliances and trade routes. On the military front, the balance of power is shifting as well. The US still leads with the world's largest defense budget, surpassing $877 billion in 2023. However, China now boasts the world's largest navy, with over 340 warships, surpassing the US fleet. While the US maintains military supremacy in air power and overseas bases, China's rapid expansion has raised concerns in Washington and beyond. With these seismic shifts in economic strength, military capability, and global influence, one pressing question emerges: is China overtaking the US as the next global superpower? The answer isn't simple, and in this video, we will break down the factors shaping this historic power struggle. Stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers, strategies, and key events defining the future of global leadership. What truly makes a superpower? Is it economic strength, military might, or global influence? The answer isn't as straightforward as you might think. For decades, the United States has been the undisputed global superpower, but what does it actually mean to be a superpower? Historically, a superpower is defined by three key pillars: economic dominance, military strength, and global influence. Each of these factors plays a critical role in shaping international affairs and determining which nation holds the reins of global leadership. The global balance of power is not static, it shifts with economic trends, technological advancements, and strategic political decisions. To determine whether China is truly on course to replace the United States as the world's leading superpower, we must analyze 5 key factors: economic strength, military capabilities, technological leadership, diplomatic influence, and demographic trends. Economic strength. What happens when the world's two largest economies go head-to-head? The winner won't just dominate markets, it will shape the future of global power. Economic power is the backbone of superpower status, and while the United States remains the world's largest economy with a GDP of $26.9 trillion, China is rapidly closing the gap with a GDP of $19.4 trillion. More importantly, China's economy is growing at a 5.2% annual rate, compared to the US growth rate of 2.1%. At this pace, some projections suggest that China could surpass the US economy by 2035. Trade and manufacturing further highlight China's rise. As the world's largest exporter, China dominates global supply chains, producing over 30% of the world's industrial goods. It has also strategically invested in resource-rich regions like Africa and Latin America, securing raw materials critical for its continued industrial dominance. However, economic power isn't just about size, it's also about control over financial systems. The US dollar remains the world's primary reserve currency, used in 59% of global transactions. This gives the US an unmatched ability to impose sanctions and influence global markets. By contrast, China's yuan accounts for only 7% of global reserves, despite efforts to internationalize it through digital currencies and bilateral trade agreements. Strategic alliances. So, is the US still the world's strongest military, or is China closing in? A superpower is not just measured by its economy, but also by its ability to project military power globally. The United States currently has the largest defense budget in the world, spending $877 billion in 2023. It maintains a network of 800 military bases across more than 70 countries, ensuring strategic dominance from the Pacific to the Middle East. However, China has been rapidly modernizing its military. With a defense budget of $290 billion, it now boasts the largest navy in the world, with over 340 warships, surpassing the U.S. fleet of 295. China has also developed hypersonic missile technology, capable of bypassing traditional missile defense systems. Additionally, its focus on cyber warfare and space-based military capabilities could alter the future battlefield. Yet, the U.S. still holds critical advantages, particularly in aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, and strategic alliances like NATO, AUKUS, and the Quad. While China may dominate the Indo-Pacific region, the U.S. retains a global military presence. Technological leadership. Whoever controls the future of AI, semiconductors, and 5G will control the world. And both China and the U.S. are racing to seize that future. Technology has become the ultimate force multiplier in global power struggles. The United States has historically led in artificial intelligence, AI, semiconductor production, and aerospace technology. Companies like NVIDIA, Intel, and AMD supply the world with 80% of advanced semiconductors, a vital component in everything from smartphones to fighter jets. However, China is rapidly closing the gap. It has invested over $1.4 trillion in its Made in China 2025 initiative, aiming to achieve self-sufficiency in AI, robotics, and semiconductors. Huawei has already rolled out 5G networks in over 70 countries, giving China a significant edge in digital infrastructure. Moreover, China leads in the deployment of quantum computing and renewable energy technology, both of which could shape the future of warfare, finance, and global trade. If Beijing successfully breaks the U.S. monopoly on cutting-edge tech, it could significantly shift global power dynamics. Built on money and weapons. The real battle is over hearts and minds. So, who is winning the global influence war, Washington or Beijing? Soft power, shaping global opinion through diplomacy, culture, and media, is another crucial element of superpower status. The U.S. has traditionally dominated this arena, shaping global norms through Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and institutions like the United Nations, NATO, and the World Bank. China, however, has launched an aggressive diplomatic strategy, expanding its influence through the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a $1 trillion infrastructure project spanning over 140 countries. By funding roads, ports, and energy projects in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, China is creating economic dependencies that translate into political leverage. Furthermore, China has increased its presence in international organizations, such as the World Health Organization, WHO, and United Nations Human Rights Council, seeking to reshape global governance in its favor. The question remains, will China's economic diplomacy outweigh America's cultural and institutional influence? Demographic and social trends. Powerful armies and booming economies mean nothing without people to sustain them. The real question is, who has the workforce to lead the next century? Demographics play an underrated but vital role in superpower status. The United States enjoys a relatively young and growing population, with 331 million people, bolstered by immigration. This gives the U.S. a dynamic workforce and innovation-driven economy. China, on the other hand, faces a declining population, with birth rates hitting a record low in 2023. By 2050, China's working-age population is projected to shrink by 200 million, putting immense pressure on its economic growth and social stability. The looming aging crisis could severely limit China's ability to sustain long-term superpower ambitions. Conclusion: who will lead? The question of whether China is replacing the United States as the world's superpower does not have a simple answer. The power shift is complex, influenced by economic strength, military dominance, technological leadership, diplomatic reach, and demographic trends. While China has made undeniable progress in each of these areas, the United States continues to maintain significant advantages that make it the reigning global leader. However, the future remains uncertain, and the next few decades will be decisive in shaping the world order. The case for China, a rising challenger. From economic expansion to technological breakthroughs, China is making bold moves. Could it really dethrone the United States as the world's superpower? China's rapid economic growth has positioned it as a formidable competitor. With a GDP of $19.4 trillion in 2023 and a projected overtaking of the U.S. economy by 2035, its financial power is undeniable. Additionally, China's dominance in global trade, infrastructure development, and technological investments, particularly in 5G, AI, and renewable energy, suggests it is laying the groundwork for long-term superpower status. Militarily, China has made significant strides, particularly in regional influence. The expansion of the People's Liberation Army Navy plan and the development of hypersonic missile technology indicate its intent to challenge U.S. military supremacy, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. China's diplomatic strategy has also proven effective. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, spanning over 140 countries, has created strong economic dependencies. Moreover, China's increasing role in global institutions demonstrates its ability to shape international policies. If these trends continue, China could gradually shift from being an economic powerhouse to a fully fledged global superpower. But America isn't ready to step aside just yet. Its dominance has been built over decades, and its strengths are still unmatched in key areas. The case for the U.S., a resilient superpower. The U.S. has led the world for over a century. But can it maintain that position against a rapidly rising China, or is it destined to fade? Despite China's rise, the United States maintains key advantages that are difficult to surpass. Economically, it continues to lead with a GDP of $26.9 trillion, dominating global finance through the US dollar, which accounts for 59% of global reserves. Additionally, its strong private sector innovation, driven by companies like Google, Apple, and Tesla, keeps it at the forefront of technological advancement. Militarily, the U.S. remains unparalleled. With over 800 military bases across more than 70 countries and a defense budget of $877 billion, it possesses a global military reach that China has yet to match. The United States also holds strategic alliances through NATO, AUKUS, and the Quad, reinforcing its dominance. Diplomatically, the U.S. continues to wield soft power through Hollywood, the English language, and global institutions. While China's Belt and Road Initiative expands its influence, many countries remain wary of its debt diplomacy and authoritarian governance model. Demographically, the U.S. also holds an edge. While China's aging population is shrinking, the U.S. workforce remains strong due to immigration and population stability. This demographic advantage ensures continued innovation and economic growth. The answer might not be as clear-cut as you think. We could be entering a new era, one where neither China nor the U.S. holds absolute power. Prediction: a competitive multipolar world? So, is China replacing the U.S. as the world's superpower? The reality might surprise you. While China's growth is undeniable, the United States is unlikely to be completely displaced in the near future. Instead, the world may be heading toward a multipolar order, where both the U.S. and China play dominant roles in different spheres. The U.S. will likely continue to lead in global finance, military strength, and cultural influence. China may surpass the U.S. in trade, technology manufacturing, and regional influence in Asia. Other rising powers, such as India, the European Union, and a revitalized Russia, could further complicate the power balance. Ultimately, the 21st century may not belong exclusively to either nation, but rather to a world where power is more evenly distributed. The United States and China will remain rivals, partners, and competitors, shaping a future that is still being written. So, will China replace the U.S. as the world's superpower? One thing is certain: this battle is far from over. The next few decades will determine the future of global leadership. Who do you think will come out on top? Comment below and let's discuss.